Lydia, and I am here to share with you some of my most recommended autumn, spooky, cozy children's books. I love children's literature. I'm actually currently writing an autumn-based children's book. I have a whole bunch of them that I have, grown up reading and loving, and some that I've just picked up recently that I thought I would share with you. Anyway, without me prattling on, I'm going to get down to some of my recommendations. The first one I have here, I'm going to start young and get older. The first book I have here is Five Little Pumpkins. It's illustrated by Ben Mantell. Maybe it's written by him too. I don't see another author's name on here, so it's just kind of one of those squishy books. It's very adorable. It's simple, cardboard pages. The illustrations are just super precious, and if you have a baby or a young toddler at home, this is a cute one to pick up. The next book I have here is Duck and Goose Find a Pumpkin. This is by Tad Hills, and once again, this is a cardboard board book. I think it comes in paperback as well, but it's just a cute little autumn read. The next book I have here is is Frankenstein, a Monstrous Parody. This book I found last year. My nephews loved it. It's a little older than Duck and Goose. I would say 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds are gonna love it, and the parents are gonna really enjoy it. It is about monsters, and it is written in the style of Madeline. That's why it's a parody. It is goofy, and there's horror elements, it's monsters, people's heads falling off kind of a thing. So if that would disturb you or your children, maybe don't go for Frankenstein, but it is cute and fun, and it's not scary. So I would recommend. The next book I just picked up this year, I don't know if it just came out this year, I didn't really look up the publishing date, but it is so sweet. It's called Thanksgiving in the Woods. It's beautiful. It's by Phyllis Alsdorf, and illustrations by Jenny Lovely, and I believe Jenny is from Norway? I'm going to take that out unless I find out that it's true, but I believe the illustrator is from Norway and the author is from Minnesota. Yes! Haha! I am correct. So anyway, Thanksgiving in the Woods. It is beautifully illustrated. It's a very sweet story, and it's just a cute tale of coming together as friends and family and in the woods. I mean, what Mumford and Sons listening hipster millennial parent wouldn't jump at the chance to share this book with their children? I'm jumping at the chance. This millennial right here. The next book we have is a classic. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And whether you watch the special on TV or you miss it because all you have is Netflix, this is in essence the television special. It's just in a nice little shiny paperback form right here, and it's a cute story. It's very fun to share things with your children that you yourself watched growing up. The next book I have, I think, is a newer, it was last year I bought it, and I think it might have been a new release last year. And this one is probably, getting more towards that 6-year-old age range, I would think. Not that younger kids couldn't appreciate it, but I think, 6, 7, 8 could appreciate it as well. And that is How to Make Friends with a Ghost. My little nephew Ezra loved this because the ghost is so cute, and my older nephew Atticus, who was 6 at the time, loved it as well. Ezra, I think, was 2. It is one of the cutest children's books I've seen in a long time. It's funny, sweet concepts, told in parts, and look at that. It's adorable. It's adorable. So we're nearing Halloween. 1010 would recommend this adorable ghost book. The next book I have for you is one that I've read to my 6-year-old nephew many times, and he loves it as much as I do. And it is The X-Files, Earth Children Are Weird. This book is so fun. It's not scary, but there is like a spooky little twist at the end, just like X-Files episodes. And it's just really fun to be able to, like, if you watched X-Files and loved it like I do, it's fun to be able to share with kids kind of Mulder and Scully and their friendship and relationship, and it's cute. The next book I have for you today is a terrifying, it's not terrifying, I find it terrifying as an adult, but it's a children's book. It's fantastic, but it is creepy, and that is The Wolves in the Walls, and that's by Neil Gaiman, illustrated by Dave McKean. Illustrations are kind of creepy. The book itself is kind of creepy, but I love it. It's one of those books that, you know, kids tend to just accept scary things sometimes, especially at certain ages, and they don't even know it's scary. But when you're an adult, those same things disturb you, or you find them really morbid, whereas kids are just like, yeah, and there's wolves in the walls. Okay. And then as an adult, you're like, what is this horror? What are these illustrations? I feel like this book is that in a nutshell, where if you read it to a child, especially one who's young enough, they would just kind of accept it, you know, and be like, oh, this is a neat story. And it is a cool story, and it gets less scary at the end, and they, you know, triumph, and it's great. But this book, I love it. All right, moving up the age range now. This is more late elementary readers, I would say. Otherwise, kind of the books that you can read to your children if they're younger, or they could read them themselves as they, you know, hit that 10 to 13 age range. Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Another book that is creepy. But once again, I loved Coraline. Coraline is kind of a dark Alice in Wonderland. It's always how I felt about it. There's more of a plot. Alice is kind of a little bit more of a nonsense tale. Coraline definitely learned some lessons along the way, and it is spooky. But I really didn't feel like it was scarringly spooky for children. I felt like children are probably more open to it than adults. I loved Coraline. This is a fantastic, oh, you can see that light, that glare is really showing you the detail of this cover, which I'm not sure I even noticed before. That's so cool. Anyway, I digress. Next I have is J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. This is a good intro for kids into Tolkien's world. I always feel like Tolkien's world feels like autumn to me, you know, like that's when I want to read his books. It's the fall when everyone's going on adventures and, you know, you're looking at the landscape and it's crisp and cool in the morning as they cook out over their little campsites. Like, I'm not sure it actually is supposed to be autumn in this book, but that's when I want to pick up a Tolkien book every time. One of my favorite series that I read when I think I was 10, 11-ish, which is definitely an autumn read, is Redwall. This is an old paperback cover. I've seen many different versions. There's a lot of these books out there, but Redwall is a fantastic book to read in autumn. I have, of course, the Harry Potter books. Every Harry Potter book, well, not every Harry Potter book, but most Harry Potter books start with the school year. Summer's ending. They're starting the school year. So the first part of almost every Harry Potter book is in the autumn. I love Harry Potter. I grew up with it, so that's part of it, but I think I read it at the perfect age. And that was, I started reading Harry Potter when the movies came out, and the movies came out when I was 11. And it was perfect because I got to grow up with Harry. Like, I wasn't a kid reading about 11-year-olds. I was 11. And it's when I read the first book, it's when I saw the movie, and so I really got that full experience of growing up with Harry. So I recommend starting Harry Potter at 11 years old. Not that you couldn't read it to your kids or have them read it alone sooner than that, but it's fun because you get to kind of go through those developmental stages with Harry. Number 1 always feels like an autumn book to me, and number 3 definitely feels like adults reread number 3, you know, in October around Halloween, because that's the vibes. I mean, and you all know why if you've read it. Like, you know the plots that make it spooky. It's a great Halloween read. All right, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope this movie wasn't a movie. It is almost the length of a movie. I hope this video is helpful and that you enjoyed it, and I hope to talk to you all again soon. Bye! Oh, a quick note, other books I didn't even think about mentioning that definitely deserve a mention, especially if you're reading out loud to your children, is the Little House on the Prairie books, Little Women, especially Little House in the Big Woods. My mother read that to me, I think, during the start of a school year, and it is just such a cozy, it goes into winter, but I believe it starts in autumn as well. It's just such a cozy read as the weather starts to get cooler. I love Hank the Cowdog. They're fantastic children's books, and I know they have many autumn-based installments, and I think even some Halloween ones, which are just fantastic. I love those books. I did as a child. I laughed. I still laugh at them. They're still some of the funniest kids' books I've ever read. The American Girl series, if you're a seasonal reader and you want to read seasonally with your children, the American Girl series always has a book in every season. So between their first book, which I think is usually a summer book, and the Christmas book, which is always book 3 is always in the winter or Christmas, depending on the character. Kaya doesn't have a Christmas book because she's Native American. That book in the middle there, book 2, is always like a school book that takes place in autumn. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you again soon.